From Clarkston, Michigan, the greatest city in the world, it's the Jose Aliaga Show. Jose Aliaga knows everyone. Get to know him as he interviews some of the most fascinating people from the greater Independence Township area. And now, broadcasting from the studios at Clarkston High School, the home of the state champion Wolves, here's Jose Aliaga.
Welcome to the Jose Aliaga Show. Today we have our good friend and always a special guest, Jonathan Ettinger. How you doing, my friend?
Hi, Jose.
How you doing?
Right. Well, I didn't know it was that special, but okay.
But you're very special. I mean, you're our favorite guest here. Then always come and tell us more about what's going on in the political landscape.
Okay.
So, well, we started talking about this primary since last year. And a lot of things happened. From 15 candidates, we narrow. Now the Republican ticket was 3. Democrats, we didn't have much. The 5 now is 2.
Well, to be fair, the Democrats only really had 2 to begin with, so
Well,
come
yeah,
on.
Okay,
The other guys had no chance from the start.
Well, yeah, you're right. The other guys don't have any chance. That's a fairly good statement. I mean, it's the truth. But what's going on in the Republican primary? Let's start with the Republican. So we have 3 people right now.
Well, 3 active campaigns. I mean, and this is a critical point people need to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Suspended campaign does not mean ended campaign.
Mm-hmm.
First, anyone who suspended their campaign can actually reactivate it if they wanted to at some point.
Oh, okay, good point. I didn't know that.
But what really matters, and the main reason why they suspend it, is this way technically it's still active, so they can continue to raise money to pay off the campaign's debt.
Oh, good point. I didn't know that.
And they also hold on to any delegates they would have accumulated by that point, which there's a handful of them, other than the 3 still going, who do have at least 1 delegate.
Oh, so, okay, so what happened in Arizona, for example, just the last primary that I recall, Kasich, which is running 3 people right now, Donald Trump, Senator Cruz, and Governor Kasich. Kasich actually was 4 out of 3, because one was Senator Rubio, who suspended his campaign, actually was at 3rd place.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
So, okay.
Rand Paul dropped out like right after Iowa, and I still voted for him a month later here in Michigan, because that's who I support. That's what I'm going to do. There you go.
Okay.
People can do it.
All right, but so the people that suspend their campaign, sometimes they want to still active raising some money to pay their debt or whatever.
Generally, it's for the fundraising, but that you know, it doesn't mean it necessarily stays at only that.
Okay. All right. So now, the question, since we talk about Kasich, does Governor Kasich have a chance to win the nomination?
Well, the simplest way is to talk numbers, okay? Because
Yeah,
ultimately,
let's go
there's 2 things here. There's numbers and there's rules, okay?
All right. What
Now,
the numbers?
I'm looking on data. This is taken from literally yesterday from the New York Times. So if any of these figures are wrong, blame them, not me.
Okay, not you, but many times. Okay.
As it stands right now, Trump has about close to 740 delegates. Cruz is a little over 450. Rubio is still ahead of Kasich, okay?
Really?
Yeah,
Even
Rubio.
though he's not active, he's
Oh yeah,
still
because
ahead.
he still keeps his delegates from before.
Okay.
So, I mean, whether or not he can still gain any in future contests, that comes down to state election rules, whatever. Bottom line is, though, with where the numbers stand and what's left, Trump is the only one who has an actual chance of hitting 1237 before the convention.
Okay.
He can do it. It's mathematically possible, but that doesn't mean it's likely. It doesn't mean he's going to. You got to consider this. First off, there are 5 races coming up that are winner take all. Whoever comes out in the lead, even if it's only having 37% of the vote, gets everything. But 5 of them are also winner take most. That's where it's divided over districts and or proportional. But if someone breaks and has 50% plus 1 majority, then they get the whole state. So looking at this, I mean, right now we're at place here, let's see. Out of everyone that's left, Trump still needs to get about 47% of that. all the delegates that are left to be assigned here, okay? Now, if he gets all of the winner-take-all states, he still needs to pick up 35% of everywhere else.
Oh, okay.
If he actually clears a majority in the winner-take-most states and gets all of them in those, he still needs 26% of everything else. It's mathematically possible for him to hit 1237 before the convention, but I wouldn't put money on him actually doing it, especially with, let's just put it this way, his popularity hasn't necessarily waned, but a lot of anti-Trump sentiment has been growing in recent weeks. So, yeah, to answer your question, no, Kasich doesn't have a chance.
No, Kasich no chance. What about Ted Cruz?
He's counting on a brokered convention, same as everyone else, and then it's a matter of convention rules and have to see how it plays out.
So how the convention rules are? So explain for the people who don't know about this. So let's see, Trump didn't get the number that he needs in delegates. So what happened? What are the rules?
The magic number to get the majority is 1237. That's half the delegates plus one. So the way it tends to work is if someone hits that number before convention, then all the delegates are pledged/bound, however you want to call it. So there's a slight difference. And so whoever already has that pledge to them, they win on the first ballot, it's done. If someone doesn't have that number, everyone votes. No one has the majority. Now after that, most of the delegates in most states get released and are free to vote for whoever they want. This is where people in conventions start cutting deals and switching sides.
Which side the delegates you talking about? Precinct delegates or delegates for the state?
Delegates at the national convention, which has nothing to do with precinct delegates. Precinct delegates may get preferential for being chosen to go to state convention and may get preferential treatment for going from state to national, but it's not guaranteed. Selection of your delegates to national convention is an entirely different thing on its own. So like I said, if you go to a second ballot, people are gonna start wheeling, dealing, Now here's where it gets really fun though. In the past, in order to have your name put in nomination at convention, in other words, in order to be considered for it in the convention, you had to have a plurality of support from at least 5 different states. 4 years ago, they enacted what we refer to as the Ron Paul rule in order to, stop movements like Ron Paul's campaign. They upped it to majority support in 8 states. Now here's the thing, this is where people go wrong. Everyone assumes that means get majority of delegates from that state, as in from the No, it doesn't say that. Nothing in that rule spells out that majority of state is tied to any caucus or primary election that they had. Legally speaking, and unless someone can show me something differently, I could just have a notarized document saying I, the undersigned, support so-and-so to be nominated for president. That doesn't mean they necessarily support the candidate, but that they're willing to put their name up there to be considered. And you get a majority of delegates from a state to sign that, boom, 1 state down. Do that 5 times in small states, you're there. So there's a whole lot of things that could happen in the convention.
But some people, or I hear some people saying that if Donald Trump don't get the majority of the delegates on the primary, that if in the end, the convention, they choose somebody else, that don't speak up for the freedom of speech from the people from the Republican
and this
Party.
is where you have a lot of Trump supporters who have never been engaged in the process prior to now. A lot of them definitely don't really understand the rules. My guess is I think Trump does know the rules, but he's purposely lying about it and just, he really just wants to have this mass public movement to go his way. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many states you quote won, especially if you quote won with a plurality of 37% of the vote. At the end of the day, it's delegates. Everything before that is just naming delegates, and there's still going to be a lot of delegates that are uncommitted, can vote however they want. And like I said before, if there's no winner on the first ballot, then there's even more of them that are uncommitted and can do whatever the hell they want.
So, okay, so if Donald Trump cannot win the primary, so goes to convention and we can have many people names coming and then the convention. So at that point, maybe we can get people like John McCain or whoever.
Potentially. I mean, I don't know how likely anyone is. I mean, when they first started talking brokered convention, people thought Mitt Romney. He said more directly, no, he's not going to. He supports Cruz, etc. Now there's talk about possibly drafting Speaker of the House Paul Ryan to be the candidate, which I personally don't think would be a good idea. I'm for
Why
a brokered.
not? Why not?
Well,
Why not Paul Ryan?
Even despite being the VP candidate 4 years ago, he's still not that well known across the board. And B, he's just, it's really coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Someone like a Mitt Romney, who's more well known, seems more plausible. Paul Ryan, you're like literally just grabbing someone out of the field of elected Republicans and just, there you go, that's what you're doing. I just don't see it happening. I'm all for a brokered convention and the possibility of an outside unifying figure. I just don't think it's going to go that way.
Okay. It's going to be very interesting to see who's coming up. I mean, in the past, we have Newt Gingrich, have intention to run too.
Yeah.
We have 15 candidates in this primary.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
those guys can be a game.
This is where real politics comes in. You have to cut deals, you have to make the number. It could be as simple as, once people like Rubio, Huckabee, Santorum release any delegates they have, I mean, what do we do? Do we wind up with a Cruz Kasich ticket in order to win a vote? Are we going to have Cruz somebody else, or someone else going to take the lead and Cruz? Personally, I'm just waiting to see how it happens.
It's very interesting. I mean, so how many primaries, do you know how many primaries is still left?
I didn't take a count, but the short version is to say this stuff's going through early May still.
Okay.
So we got about another month and a half roughly of stuff happening.
So the next primary is going to be 5 states and winner take all.
Well, not necessarily, because
No?
that's where it's really critical difference. Only certain contests are winner take all, and some are winner take most. Now, at the end of the day, out of the 5 that are winner take all, let's see.
When is California? Do you know? California coming up?
That is actually much further down. That's one of the ones and my bad. That's early June. So yeah, this stuff goes way, way far, actually.
Because California have a lot of delegates for sure, right?
Yeah, but they're set up as a winner take most. If someone can cross that 50% threshold, they get a lot. But if no one does, which is not too likely that they will, then that's going to be split over any number of candidates.
Oh, okay. At this point, just 3. Unless this case is making the
Well, it depends, because uncommitted is also on the ballot too. For all you know, uncommitted could come out ahead of all but one of them.
Okay. Okay, but at this point, Kasich no chance to win the primary because he don't have enough numbers.
Mathematically, he's counting on convention,
so.
period. So is Cruz.
So even Cruz.
There are not enough votes left. If he could do it, he needs to get pretty much all of what's available, and there's no way he clears it all. Not a chance.
So Trump is the only Republican candidate at this primary.
And even that's a thin margin, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. So if Trump wins, you will support Trump?
Let's put it this way. I'm going to wait and see how the convention plays out, and we'll see who the candidate actually is.
Okay.
And that is going to determine, now, if there's someone I can reasonably support, and right now I don't see reasonably supporting Trump, Cruz, or Kasich myself, but if I can reasonably support them, then I'll probably support who the Republican is, okay?
Okay.
However, if there's someone I maybe don't like as much per se, but at least they're close in Michigan to where it matters, maybe I could vote for them. But overall, Michigan's going to go to whoever the Democrat is, which is probably Hillary, so I'm free to vote Libertarian and I don't care.
Hold on, so you're saying that Hillary is going to beat Bernie Sanders and the other primary?
Hillary is, let's put the odds-on favorite easily. I mean, Bernie still has a chance, but he literally needs 2/3 of the remaining available delegates in order to make the number.
Okay.
Whereas Hillary barely needs to squeeze 1/3 out of that.
Yeah, I didn't understand that process that well because it seems like it's two types of voters right there. The normal people that go and vote and the super delegates, right?
Well, and that's the distinction. See, in the Republican Party, people, elected officials, RNC officials, et cetera, that goes into account for how many delegates each state gets. In the DNC, though, those specific people are automatically, or at least most of them, get to be super delegates. So they're already involved in getting a vote, them personally. It's a whole different thing. So if you're already in with the party and have the backing of 90% of the super delegates, you've got a quick advantage right from the start.
And that rule was always in place for the Democrat convention, or just a
I
new
can't
one?
say always, but then again, primaries, as we know them, have only been going for the last few decades anyway.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I don't recall that, I don't remember that process for Obama when he was running against Hillary Clinton in 2008.
Yeah, I don't recall the figures, but that's because unlike right now, there was no real contest or any kind of conflict over it. Basically, everyone thought Hillary. Obama came out of nowhere. He took the lead. Bam, he got it. That was it. There really wasn't any kind of issue there.
So for what you're saying, the numbers show that Hillary already got the primary.
For the most part. I mean, it's not locked now, but it's definitely leaning that way.
I hear when I walk around the community and talk to different people, and they're saying that Hillary's under investigation by the FBI.
Yeah.
And that can come out with a negative impact if she's found guilty. So how they're gonna play if that is...
There's a mix on that.
Okay.
If she's actually indicted, how many of her supporters are actually going to bolt from her? Probably not many, actually. I mean, if you recall back when Bill Clinton was actually impeached, and he blatantly had straight across the board party support, and that's why he wasn't removed from office. At the same time, now, her getting indicted, will that grow enough, support against her? Either if it's before convention so Bernie could get the nomination, or if it's after convention so that she doesn't win in November, who knows? But the bigger factor is, how likely is she to even be indicted for it? Do you honestly think that the current Department of Justice in the Obama administration is actually going to indict her?
Good question.
Not too likely.
Right. Okay. It's a good question, but still a lot of people is talking that way.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying she shouldn't. I'm just saying politics is going to rule. So.
I hear some people even says if she get out of it, the people from the FBI should resign from the investigation. His investigation doesn't find guilty because all the that didn't come up in the last.
Except that politics has a way of just messing with everything. If law existed in a vacuum, she'd be indicted, and that would be the end of it. But political influence will get involved, and that'll make the difference. That's nothing against the people investigating her or anything else. Okay. Plenty of guilty people go free, just like plenty of innocent people get convicted.
Okay, so it's a popular quote I see on Facebook saying that if you lie to the government, that's called felony. If government lie to you, that's called politics.
Yeah, basically.
That's what it is. Okay.
It's just like, if I take from you, that's theft. If I have government do it for me, that's just allocation of resources. That's elections. That's whatever you want to call it.
It's a good way to put it too. Okay, John. So for what you say, in the Democrat primary, it's going to be Hillary Clinton because the numbers show that she got it no matter what. Bernie Sanders.
Most likely.
No
I mean,
chance.
Bernie's getting more attention, more popular than what he had at first. But in most states, they've had really low turnout in the Democrat. Mind you, a lot of admitted Democrats have been going over voting on the Republican side and voting for Trump, and partially explains his popularity.
Wow. So, okay, but Hillary got the primary very much.
For the most part.
For the most part. And the other hand, Donald Trump, out of the three candidates that are active campaigning, is the one who most likely is going to get it before convention.
He's the only one who has a chance of getting it before the convention.
So if this goes on November election, and a lot of people question this, because most people kind of have the feeling that it's going to be Trump against Hillary, or Hillary against Trump.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win in November?
There's too many variables to consider in that, because you really have to look at it as a state-by-state demographic.
Well, let's go for the swing states. Let's go Ohio, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Florida. Those are the 40 states that kind of decide,
Instead, let me throw a wrench in here for you.
Okay, all right.
Some national polling, because it's expected by so many to be Clinton versus Trump, polling has actually included Libertarian Gary Johnson in their questioning, and he's actually reaching double digits of support. It's possible that at the very least, the Libertarian candidate, whether that's Gary Johnson or even Austin Peterson possibly, could get at least something on par with what Ross Perot did in '92, and that could make a difference.
Which that percentage you talk about, that group of people, most likely sometimes they don't have third candidate will vote Republican. So that would take away from Trump then,
Well,
Hillary.
not necessarily. I mean, it could also be looking to a whole section of voters who otherwise wouldn't even be voting in that election.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, if you have a powerful enough third option, what that's really going to do is reduce the number of votes going to the other two, and that could swing any number of states, all depending.
So for what you're saying, is Gary Johnson excite the crowd, which for the people who don't know, Gary Johnson is the former governor of New Mexico?
Of New Mexico, he ran for the Republican nomination for 2012. He was one of the people who was basically ignored and shut out from the start, just like Ron Paul had been in 2008, which is why he jumped over and became the Libertarian candidate in 2012.
So, but if this happens, actually, that can affect a lot of who's going to win. But between Hillary and Trump, it's going to be difficult, right?
Well, a lot of it also depends on, are people voting for someone or against someone? There are plenty of Bernie supporters who are going to not vote for Hillary if she's the nominee.
They're going to stay out of it, or they're going to vote for Trump?
They're more likely to vote for Jill Stein, the Green Party candidate.
Oh, really?
So it won't make a difference, but they're still voting. But likewise, there are going to be any number of Republicans who are probably not going to, plug their nose and vote for Trump just to, quote, stop Hillary. It comes down to personal integrity and conviction versus politics.
I see. So it's going to be very interesting then, because usually, historically, I would say not always, but Democrats stay in office 4 years, get elected for 4 more years. Republicans get elected for total 8 years, and then the next party take over. It has been a little bit that way.
It's been going that way recently, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, we think that this time maybe is turn for the Republicans to win, but doesn't look like it's very clear at this point that we have a solid one candidate.
Oh yeah, no, Trump is the giant unknown variable that's just messing everything up. To a lesser degree, Bernie is doing the same thing, but it's really everything you thought you knew about elections, forget it. We're rewriting a whole new book right now.
It's true. This changed everything that I saw before.
Yeah. I mean, there's still the threat that Trump could have 1236 delegates. Well, not enough. Convention happens, he doesn't get it, boom, he decides to be an out there independent candidate and just messes everything up anyway. Who knows?
Besides Gary Johnson, so we're going to have independent candidates.
Hey, this is the same Donald Trump who flirted with possibly being the Reform Party candidate in the past, okay? People should remember that.
Well, I mean, this is not the first time either. Back in, after Theodore Roosevelt lost the nomination in the convention, he went and get the Moose Party, and he ran against...
He outright started a new party and helped elect Woodrow Wilson,
Yeah, Woodrow Wilson won against the one that was a Republican president at that time.
Yeah.
And Democrats didn't win for a long time, since the Civil War, I think. But the reason they won after a long time was because the Republican Party split up.
Like I said, there's too many factors involved. You can't say for sure.
Well, I mean, it's something similar that happened back with Theodore Roosevelt back in the day.
Yeah. Well, like I said, and this is why it's critical to understand process, not just popularity. Trump is trying to appeal to pure populism and say, I'm the leader, I have everything. Well, no. First off, you haven't been clearing 50% of everything everywhere. Secondly, you're leading in delegates, but that doesn't mean necessarily you're going to have enough delegates. And third, well, a lot of people hate you. So, I mean, let me point to one thing. This just came out in the last day, okay? Literally not even 24 hours ago. He sent yet another tweet, because this is what he does. He's upset over the results from 3 weeks ago in Louisiana. Okay, so if you recall, what had happened was Trump had a narrow percentage lead over Cruz. But with how things are done proportionally, he and Cruz each got 17 delegates out of that. Another 5 went to Rubio. Another 5 stayed uncommitted. Now, conventional thinking is saying that it's likely that all 10 of those, the uncommitted and the will becoming uncommitted from Rubio, will likely go over to Cruz, giving him 27-17 lead over Trump. Mind you, by the time you can free up Rubio's delegates, who knows if the 17 from Louisiana for Trump are even with Trump. And this is where delegate selection can be a huge factor. Someone could have, quote, all of the delegates from a state, but depending on who's selected and how soon they get freed up, majority of them could wind up going someplace else. But Trump's being whiny about it and he's upset. He's now threatening a lawsuit because I won. Well, you didn't win anything. You barely had a 3% lead. And according by the rules, you still only got 17 delegates. This is it. Shut up, move on.
But because that's the rules, though.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's incredible how each state have their own rules, and that's how it is.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
need to respect. That's why we have our rules. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why it's like anything. It's important to know the process. I mean, like being in any small local government meeting. If you know the rules governing the meeting, you can use that to your advantage, perfectly legally, to shut everything down, swing everything your own way. I mean, how you select the actual delegates and understanding the rules is far more critical than, hey, look at me, I got 42% of X state.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And Donald Trump has always been in the news, and what he does well is always tweet whatever, boom, is news.
He's been nothing but free media.
Free media, yeah. Whatever he says, whatever
He's
he
purposely
tweet.
Doing that to get attention, though. I read something, there's a guy, he teaches and advises about public speaking and about influence. No matter what you think of Trump, everything he said, how he says it, is intentional. It's to get the attention that he wants from the people he wants, to keep him. He's playing people. They're being manipulated and they don't even realize it.
No, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, also a scary guy. Do you really want that in charge of things? I'm sorry.
I know, but well, we're gonna see what the American people will decide on November. You know, he is the nominee for the Republican Party. We're going to November election.
Well, let's
see. I mean,
see how July goes, and then we'll talk about November.
Right. I mean, yeah. But if the November election is between Trump, Hillary, Gary Johnson, so forth. But you're right, that we don't know. Actually, the convention can change everything. Well, John, thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate your time, your knowledge, and
hey, we could have done 2 more hours, you know. So
I know. Thank you so much. And for the people that want to contact John, if you have any questions or concerns about the election, that's right there. His website, his book. He has books already. His Twitter right there.
yeah, definitely tweet me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. If you want to contact us at the Jose Aliaga Show, you can call us 248-736-7163. That's my phone number right there. Or you can like us in our page, the Jose Aliaga Show at Facebook. You can just type Facebook, you search Jose Aliaga Show, and you can send us a message, and we're happy to have you here. Thank you so much, and God bless you.